Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. Former Presidential Spokesperson Harry Roque is now facing a non-bailable qualified human trafficking case before a court in Pampanga over his alleged involvement in Philippine Offshore Gaming Operations. His co-respondents include Cassandra Ong and 48 others. Roque cries political persecution and is determined to get an asylum in the Netherlands. Let's get on point with Justice Undersecretary in charge of the Inter-Agency Council Against Trafficking, or IACAT, Nicholas Felix T. Yusek. Thank you for your time and, well, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me, Pinky, on your show.
Yusek, let's first talk about what qualified human trafficking is. Bakit ho merong qualified?
Okay. The regular human trafficking, that's the penalty for that would be a maximum of 20 years. So if you have a usual human trafficking there where victims are exploited for particular purposes like sex trafficking or labor trafficking, the regular variety, 20 years max. But if it's qualified by certain elements, which is in this case of the POGO, it's either large scale or syndicate, it becomes non-bailable. Because the law recognizes that certain crimes, if they are accompanied by certain elements, they become a little more reprehensible. Therefore, they are qualified and subject to heavier penalties.
I see. So qualified human trafficking is human trafficking at a higher level.
That is correct.
But I did read something about it that this must involve 4 or more persons and victimizing 4 or more people. Would that be correct, sir?
That's correct, but that's either or. So it's either syndicate. If it's a syndicate which involves 3 or more people, that's already a qualifier, and large scale, which involves 5 or more victims, that's also another qualifier. So we actually have multiple qualifiers in this case.
I see. What evidence points to the former presidential spokesperson, Harry Roque, as being involved in qualified human trafficking? Ano po ang inyong nakita sa inyong pag-imbestiga?
The specific act of human trafficking for which Attorney Harry Roque and many other respondents were charged for is organizing or directing others to commit human trafficking. So you see this POGO in Porac, both companies, Whirlwind Corporation and Lucky South 99, they had to be organized. They are big entities that involve a lot of people for it to be able to do what it did. And Attorney Harry Roque, by his own admission, he is lawyer of Whirlwind, and then by his own admission, he actually proceeded to the office of PAGCOR to lobby for the issuance of the internet gaming license of Lucky South 99. And mind you, that license that's secured by these POGOs from PAGCOR, that is very valuable because it provides them legal cover to do whatever activities, however nefarious, that they decided to do.
To which the PAGCOR did not renew that license eventually, because according to the chairman of PAGCOR, Mr. Altenco, they found some red flags.
That's correct.
With this particular license for Lucky South 99. I just want to go back to really what Attorney Harry Roque was saying. Attorney Harry Roque had said during the Quadcom that he was the lawyer of Cassandra Ong, who is the lesser.
Yes.
Who is, what is her position in Whirlwind?
He's a stockholder in Whirlwind Corporation.
So siya po ang parang siya ang stockholder ng Whirlwind. Si Attorney Harry Roque po ay abogado niya at ang Whirlwind po ay lessor. Sila po ang nagpaparenta nung building dito po sa Lucky South 99. And Attorney Harry Roque also said that he was present, right, during a meeting with the chairman of PAGCOR for a readjustment, no? Of the payment. Kasi nagkulang ang payment ng Lucky South to PAGCOR. Because supposedly, again, sorry, I just want to go back to the context of this, that Cassandra Ong was saying that they were having it paid through a certain Dennis Cunana na hindi pala binabayaran sa PAGCOR. Tama, sir? So I got it correct so far. So how is he connected to all this? Para kasi abogado siya ni Cassandra Ong na parte ng Whirlwind na nag-release ng property sa Lucky South, tapos biglang kasama na si Attorney Harry Roque dito?
That convoluted story only shows that there's no distinction between Whirlwind Corporation and Lucky South 99. This holding company which leased to Lucky South 99, which is the POGO, parang one and the same eh.
So pinagsasama mo po si Whirlwind tsaka si Lucky South?
Tinuring ng mga fiscal natin na iisa lang yan. Ano? Kung sa criminal law, conspiracy, no? There's conspiracy of all these multiple actors within the framework of both corporations. And if you're going to go to corporation law, the term there is piercing the corporate veil. So legally, it's something that can be done under certain circumstances. And in the view of the prosecutors, the circumstances warranted such action.
But what if Attorney Harry Roque says that, yes, I was in PAGCOR to meet with the chairman and Cassandra Ong for a renegotiation of the payment, ano? Sinamahan ko lang naman siya doon dahil may kilala ko sa PAGCOR. Hindi ko naman, legal naman sila, kaya nga gusto nilang magbayad nung kanilang arrears, kumbaga. Doesn't that hold as his defense?
There's a couple of things that has to be added to that story. Because at that point, Lucky South 99's premises had been raided 3 times for human trafficking by law enforcement. It just didn't proceed to a full-blown closure. Because back in those times, katok lang naman yung law enforcement. Hindi umabot sa punto ng ginagawa natin starting 2023 na pinapasara natin yung mga nakikita natin may atraso.
Okay. What happens to him now? The case is in a Pampanga court, and I believe that case will eventually be transferred to a Pasig court, similar to that of the former mayor of Pampanga.
Correct.
So nothing will happen right now until the case is moved to Pasig, or can the Pampanga court, if they find probable cause, if the judge rather finds probable cause, issue an arrest warrant?
My understanding is that it should be the Pasig court to which the case will be transferred that will issue the warrant of arrest. So that's why in this case it's going to take a little more time for the evaluation of the judge of probable cause and the issuance of the warrant of arrest.
But the transfer from Pampanga to Pasig, should that be done the soonest possible time?
It should be, in our view, it should be a matter of course, because in our view, the order of the Supreme Court on all POGOs in Luzon, all criminal cases of POGOs in Luzon to Pasig, it's pretty clear.
And the reason for that, maybe you can...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, tell
because
us.
When we had the initial case of Alice Guo, and that was initially in a court in Tarlac, I forget specifically where, in Tarlac, we noticed that there seemed to be home court bias for that. Our prosecutors had some issues with the presiding judge then. So that's why we decided to request for a change of venue from the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court was gracious enough to not just grant that change of venue for the Banban case, but also make the grant broad enough to cover all POGOs in Luzon.
All in Luzon?
Yes.
Not just Bamban?
Yes, not just Banban, not just PORAC.
I want to go back to the resolution that the DOJ had issued, and I quote, it said that Roque knowingly contributed to the activities for the purpose of organizing the trafficking or exploitation of workers.
Yes.
When I read this, Yusek, it makes me think that former Presidential Spokesperson Harry Roque was really a part. I mean,
Yes.
that's basically what you're saying.
Yes.
Yung nangyaring POGO noon sa Porac, Pampanga, ay parte siya
Yes.
nung pagpapatakbo noon, pagpapalakad noon, pagpapagawa ng mga illegal na aktibidad. That's how I understand that. Is that the correct interpretation?
Well, under that provision of the human trafficking law, the organizing, where organizers can be penalized, the perpetrators, they don't have to be the recruiters. They don't have to be the ones who transported. They don't have to be the ones who actually employed or used physical force on the victims of human trafficking. It's enough that they had an integral part in the organization of the establishment where human trafficking took place. And in the view of the prosecutors, Attorney Harry Roque's role was pretty significant.
Political persecution is what Attorney Harry Roque is saying. Let's listen.
Yes.
At dahil ang unjust prosecution po ay isang form of political persecution, naniniwala po ako na magagrant po ang aking asylum. Ngayong isasampa po sa hukuman itong kasong ito, lilinawin ko lang po. Hindi po ako pugante. Ako po ay isang bona fide asylum seeker.
In succeeding interviews, I believe, I recall Attorney Roque basically saying that he will use this case as part of his bid for asylum in the Netherlands. In a way saying that because of this, mapapalakas pa yung kanyang depensa at paghingi ng asylum sa the Netherlands. What do you say to that?
Well, that's his view. He's free to have his view. We have a different view. Because this case, the raid, the operation against Lucky South 99, that took place back in June 2024. And when PAOK and CIDG did that, they had no idea that Harry Roque would be implicated. They only chanced upon documents that are attributed to him. And then when he was asked about it, he said a lot of things that actually implicated him further. And then one thing just led to another. So clearly, there was no intention in the start to target him for this human trafficking case. And second, this is human trafficking. When you talk about political persecution, the usual cases there are cases with political flavor, maybe rebellion, terrorism, maybe sedition. But this case is about the victims of human trafficking. This case is about an illegal POGO where he happens to be part and parcel of the multiple respondents. So it's not about him. It's about the victims. It's about this organization, this criminal enterprise.
Yusek, is there anything else apart from him being the lawyer of Cassandra Ong and being with Cassandra Ong, meeting Chairman Tenko for a rearrangement of yung kanilang utang sa PAGCOR and to renew their license? Is there anything else that points Attorney Harry Roque to a qualified human trafficking case?
If you go through the resolution, there's actually one of the witnesses who said that he saw Harry Roque in the premises of Lucky South 99.
And?
Which further adds, it's another circumstance, it's another piece of circumstantial evidence that if you tie together with all the other circumstantial evidence, points to the need to make him answerable for his involvement in this criminal enterprise.
Just playing devil's advocate here, if someone actually saw him there, would it have been so impossible to see him there, knowing that he is the lawyer of Cassandra Ong, who is the lessor of Whirlwind, where the POGO hub is?
If it was just that, right? But you have all these other things in combination, right? And let's not forget, this POGO hub was raided multiple times, right?
You said three times.
Three times prior to his visit to PAGCOR. So you have to put all these circumstances together to come up with this finding or this view that he should be at the very least put on trial to answer for it.
And that to you is probable cause.
That's
enough to warrant a probable cause.
Well, not just probable cause, because Secretary Remulla, through his issuance, has actually elevated the standard of evidence for preliminary investigation. It's prima facie evidence of reasonable certainty of conviction.
Ibig sabihin, hindi na sapat para sa DOJ Secretary ang probable cause. Gusto niya mas matindi pa doon.
Gusto niya mas matindi.
A level higher. All right. What happens now? So you await, of course, a decision either from the Pampanga court to move it to Pasig. And if the judge finds probable cause, take for example, an arrest warrant is issued, what happens next? Attorney Harry Roque is in the Netherlands seeking asylum.
A lot of things will happen once that warrant of arrest is issued. First of all, he can be considered a fugitive from justice already because there's an outstanding warrant. Second, on our end, there will be...
Sorry to cut you, sir. By then, pwede na po siyang tawaging pugante.
Tama.
Kasi kanina po sinasabi nga niya, hindi ako pugante, I'm a bona fide asylum seeker, I think. Okay?
Well, tama naman siya doon. At this point, at least for the human trafficking case, he's not yet a fugitive dahil wala pang warrant. But pag lumabas na yun, pugante na siya. Tapos pangalawa, on our end, a lot of options are there on our part. First, we can move for the cancellation of his passport with the trial court. Second, we can apply for a red notice with Interpol. And third, as instructed by the Secretary of Justice, we will communicate. We will issue an official communication to the government of the Netherlands on the status of this case and argue why it should not be considered as a form of persecution.
I want to tackle that one by one, sir. Let's talk about the option of canceling the passport. What good will that do? Because right now, he is in the Netherlands seeking political asylum. I'm not sure if once you are applying for political asylum, if you're actually even allowed to leave that country. Would you know, sir?
I'm not sure. But there were actually reports that after he applied for political asylum, he went to Germany. right?
I see.
So,
So it doesn't necessitate that you stay in that country if you want. Okay.
I believe. I'm not sure. I'd have to
Let's
look
check
up
on that. So
Yes.
that would help in the cancellation of the passport. The red notice.
A red notice, it would, just like any red notice application, it would put this warrant of arrest within the context of the Interpol, and hopefully we will be able to avail of assistance from foreign law enforcement agencies to effect the arrest.
Number 3, communicating with the Netherlands regarding this. Now, have they actually asked the government regarding the any communication response to the asylum bid of
No.
Attorney Harry Roque? Wala pa po
We
hanggang
haven't
ngayon.
received any official request, but we will be proactive because we don't want the government of the Netherlands to just hear officially the side of Attorney Harry Roque, because we don't want this human trafficking case to be twisted into some kind of persecution, because it's not. Again, this case is not about him. It's about the victims of human trafficking. It's about a criminal enterprise that has to be answerable to the law.
And because you said that they have not reached out to you, what do you intend to do? What does the DOJ intend to do?
From my understanding, we will, through the DFA, for DFA and the embassy in the Netherlands, we'll write an official communication to the government of the Netherlands on this issue. We will apprise them of the fact that, but this will be triggered only upon issuance of the warrant of arrest.
Okay.
We
Not
will,
now.
Not
Sa
now.
ngayon,
Not
hindi pa
now.
po.
Not now. We will apprise them of the warrant of arrest. We will most likely will furnish them copies of the corresponding resolutions to give them an idea, to give them an idea of our side. So at least they will hear multiple sides before they decide on the request for asylum.
We don't have an extradition treaty with the Netherlands.
I heard we don't.
Yeah, I checked myself.
Yes.
I did not see.
Yes.
It actually said that we do not have an
Yes.
extradition treaty with the Netherlands. So if there is an arrest warrant, presupposing that there is a passing judge issues this versus a pending asylum bid in the Netherlands, which takes precedence?
This is not the first time that this happened, where there's an Interpol red notice, but we did not have a extradition treaty with the country that where the accused was in. In the case of former Congressman Teves, we don't have an extradition treaty with Timor-Leste. So I think we used a more general convention, a more general treaty for the extradition proceedings.
Yeah, but and he was also seeking asylum.
Yes.
In Timor-Leste,
Yes.
right? So you can apply the same methodology you're saying in the Netherlands.
I would think so.
But you lost the one in Timor-Leste.
Well, but we're appealing that,
Yeah.
and the circumstances of our loss there. It's a mere setback, no.
Okay, what can we expect, I guess, in the next couple of weeks or months, sir?
Well, the key is the warrant of arrest. The moment that it comes out, there's a lot of work. There's a lot of work. Our work will be cut out for us the moment that happens. And in the meantime, well, let's wait and see.
Okay, before you go, sir, also let's not forget there are, apart from him, 48
Yes,
others
yes.
or 47 others?
Yes. Yeah, that number, almost 50. So warrants of arrest have to be implemented on them. A lot of them are still in the country. Some of them, we believe, are outside the country, especially the Chinese nationals. So the remedies that I mentioned earlier for Attorney Harry Roque, these will apply to
them
those
as
foreign
well.
nationals as well.
But definitely, sir, possibly most of the foreign nationals are already out of the
Yes.
country.
Yes.
And while there is no arrest warrant, they can leave the country as we speak.
Oh, well, there's an whole departure. Sorry, there's an ILBO. There's a immigration lookout bulletin order for most, if not all, of these accused.
Take, for example, Cassandra Ong. Do we
Yes.
know where she is?
Well, right now police are trying to locate her. Our information is that she's still in the Philippines. Last time we checked, she was under detention in the House of Representatives. But since then, there's no.
She's been released since then.
She's been released,
Yeah.
but no information from immigration that she has left the country.
I see. Maraming salamat, Justice Undersecretary in charge of the Inter-Agency Council Against Trafficking, or IACAT, Nicholas Felix T. Yusek. Maraming
Yeah, thank
salamat.
you.